Up NBA fans, Dom2K on the mic, and if you were watching my videos last week, you saw I did a video trying to predict the 16 new historic teams that are going to be in NBA 2K18. Of course, I've already got 2 of those wrong because 2 of the teams that were announced were not in my video, but whatever, it was fun to do predictions anyways. So because of that, I wanted to try to predict the starting lineup for all 30 historic teams that they're going to be adding to the game. But before we do that, I have to be responsible and correct a mistake. In my last video, I introduced to you guys the Gridiron app, and I stupidly gave you guys the wrong links to the wrong app, so those links are updated in the description and you can come follow me for the NFL season. I'm pretty sure you guys remember the Hardwood Amino app for NBA that I introduced to you months ago. Well, this is almost identical to that, except it's for you diehard NFL fans. It basically mirrors the Hardwood Amino app in that you can take quizzes, make blogs and polls, chat with the community and follow people. Of course, if you can follow people, you can make your own account just like I did, so if you're looking to follow me for the NFL season, you'll be able to find me at my usual handle of Dom2K. I think my favorite feature about the app would be the public chat rooms, because when games are going on, it's fun to connect with people in real time to discuss what's happening. So if you need to take your anger out from a bogus call from the refs, or you just want some general discussion, it can be a great thing for you. So head over to your respective app stores to get the app today, or find them on your system with the links below in the description and in the comment section. I hope to see you there. So with that being said, before we start this video, just a few quick notes. First, I am going to be splitting this video into 15 teams, which means the other 15 predictions are going to come out tomorrow, because I have to explain my position with some of the choices that I made, and if I have to do that for all 30 teams in one video, this video is going to be so long that nobody's going to watch it all. Second, I'm kind of sticking to the starting lineup for the same reason, because of length, but also because the starting lineup is more fun to guess. We can probably all guess every all-time team for every player that's going to be on every all-time team, but we can't guess who's going to be in the starting lineup that 2K sets. Or at least we can't guess it as easy as we can guess the all-time teams. And finally, when I put an asterisk next to a name while I'm reading off a list, that means I think there's another player that can take his spot, and I'm going to be doing some explaining. So jumping right into the tough stuff, we're going to start with the most storied franchise in NBA history with the Boston Celtics. I think their starting lineup is going to be Bob Cousy, Sam Jones with an asterisk, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Bill Russell. Now, pretty much all of these are self-explanatory, but with Sam Jones at the shooting guard position, the reason I have an asterisk is because I think you have to have Paul Pierce starting on an all-time Celtics team. If you've ever played with Sam Jones in 2K, you know he's a beast, his defense and his shooting, but I'm wondering here, is 2K gonna go with the popularity, which would be Paul Pierce because he's definitely more popular than Sam Jones because of the era he played in, or are they gonna go with the more storied part because Sam Jones has multiple rings and he was a part of the Bill Russell teams? And it's tough because you really can't put Paul Pierce over Larry Bird, because a lot of you who know anything about Larry Bird know how great he was and the fact that he had multiple championships and MVPs, so there's no way that Paul Pierce would get a starting spot over Larry Bird in an all-time team. In the interest of time, I'm gonna let you guys debate Kevin McHale and Kevin Garnett in the comment section, because again, I just don't have time to debate all 5 players for every starting lineup. For the Los Angeles Clippers, you know, they're the team that really sparked my idea for this video, because when I woke up this morning, I was thinking, you know, how are they going to give the Clippers an all-time roster when pretty much their best roster just happened 2 years ago? They don't have a lot of players in their franchise, especially not stars that stayed on the team for a while, so this one is interesting. For their lineup, I have Chris Paul, Corey Maggette, Dominique Wilkins with a huge asterisk, Blake Griffin, and Bob McAdoo. The reason there's a huge asterisk next to Dominique Wilkins' name is because yes, he is technically a part of the Clippers history, and to do an all-time team for the Clippers, Dominique Wilkins is gonna have to be on it. So if Dominique Wilkins is on the team at all, that means he's gonna be in the starting lineup. But again, he only played like a season or half a season for them before he left. He was traded from the Atlanta Hawks, played a little bit of time for the Clippers, and he was gone so quick that it's hard to even consider him a Clipper, but he was, so he's gonna have to be there. Now, if it wasn't Dominique Wilkins, I think it would be Lamar Odom, because he played a lot of small forward for the Clippers and he was a good player back then. So yeah, you know, when you have to put Lamar Odom on an all-time team, it's not that he was a bad player, he was really good, but damn, an all-time roster spot for Lamar Odom. I also saw somebody suggest Bill Walton for the center spot, but it's gonna have to be McAdoo, because McAdoo was pretty much a superstar for his time with the Clippers and Walton only spent the season there, so there's no way you could put Walton over McAdoo. The Utah Jazz weren't that difficult, but they did used to be the New Orleans Jazz, so what players transfer in the history is kind of tricky, but I'm going by what's on the index on basketballreference.com. So according to that, the Jazz starting lineup would be John Stockton, Pete Maravich with an asterisk, Adrian Dantley, Carlos Boozer, and Karl Malone. If for some weird reason Pete Maravich didn't count as a member of the Utah Jazz, then I would have to slide Gordon Hayward to the 2 spot because there is no way in hell Gordon Hayward would start at small forward over Adrian Dantley. And just in case you had some questions about the big men spot, I went ahead and ran a 2 power forward lineup with Karl Malone and Carlos Boozer because I'm not putting Mark Eden at the center spot just because he's a center. I'm not going to do it when you have Boozer and Malone. Moving on, that brings us to the Grizzlies, who haven't even been around that long, so this wasn't that difficult, and at the same time it kinda was because I was really wondering about the 2 spot. So for this I have Mike Conley, Mike Miller, Rudy Gay, Pau Gasol, and Marc Gasol. It's really that simple. I don't know who else you would put at the shooting guard position. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but when I looked through their history, all I really found was Mike Miller. And if you go to the franchise index, Mike Miller is even listed as one of the Grizzlies' top 12 players of all time in their franchise history. So, I mean, if you have a better idea for the 2 spot, let me know, because I don't. In theory, you could put OJ Mayo there at the 2 spot, but remember when you do that he only averaged over 15 points a game for 2 of the 4 seasons that he played for the Grizzlies. So, if that's the route you want to go, then be my guest. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to a really good one in the Milwaukee Bucks. Here we have Oscar Robertson, Ray Allen with a double asterisk, Bob Dandridge, Terry Cummings, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now let me go ahead and put this out there. Robertson, Dandridge, Cummings, and Jabbar, you really can't even question those. However, Ray Allen, you could definitely question this one. In his spot, I say you could have Sidney Moncrief or you could have Michael Redd, and here's why. It's true that Ray Allen had some great days for the Bucks, and the only time you see him dunking in highlights is really when he has a Bucks jersey on. That's really the Ray Allen that a lot of people don't know about, and that was some of his best times. It was his first team. However, he only played 6 seasons there before he was traded. You compare that to Michael Redd, who actually had 10 seasons there, and he had a lot of quality scoring seasons. Now, I could understand if you're gonna say, well, Michael Redd ended up getting hurt, so that really turned out to be only about 6 really good seasons with him, and they only had 1 All-Star team, and that's fair. That's why I gave Ray Allen the starting spot. But Sidney Moncrief played pretty much his entire career as a Milwaukee Buck, and he was around 20 points most of the time he was there. He only played for 1 other team, and that was after he got hurt. So Sidney Moncrief could definitely end up with the starting spot over Ray Allen on this team, but I'm gonna go with Ray Allen as my prediction for the same reason I was questioning the whole Sam Jones and Paul Pierce thing. I'm wondering if 2K is gonna go with what we're familiar with, and we're way more familiar with Ray Allen as a Buck than we are Sidney Moncrief just because of the eras that they played in. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that works out. For the Hawks, I have Lenny Wilkins, Joe Johnson with an asterisk, Dominique Wilkins, Bob Pettit, and Al Horford. Now, one note, I didn't put an asterisk next to Lenny Wilkins, but he was the only, I guess you could say, star guard in Atlanta Hawks history that I even found. So I'm not really sure. Maybe they're gonna go with Spud Webb if Lenny Wilkins isn't in the game, because that's my main concern. I don't believe Lenny Wilkins has been in 2K, and I don't know if he's gonna make it there this year. So if he doesn't, I guess they're gonna go with a Spud Webb or a Doc Rivers or somebody that we're more familiar with. But just based off of talent, Lenny Wilkins would get that starting spot. Now, as far as the asterisk, it's between Joe Johnson and Lou Hudson, and it's a toss-up. The public is way more familiar with Joe Johnson, who played about 6 seasons as a Hawk, and they were all good scoring seasons. But then again, Lou Hudson pretty much played his entire career as an Atlanta Hawk, and he only played 2 as a member of the Lakers, and that was his whole career. And he was a very good scorer for the Hawks. He even had as high as like 26 points a game. So that's a complete toss-up. I don't know who they're going to choose there. For the Sixers, we have an interesting situation at the guard spot. I have Allen Iverson with an asterisk, Hal Greer, Dr. J, Charles Barkley, and Wilt Chamberlain. Now, I'm not even questioning Iverson as a starter because there is no way in hell that Allen Iverson is not going to be on the starting for the Sixers all-time team. However, you have to look at Iverson and Greer. Both of them are shooting guards. And if you're going by who actually played point guard for the Sixers, it was Maurice Cheeks. So technically, he would get the point guard spot, but that means Iverson would become the 2 and Greer would become a bench player, when in reality they should both be starting. I believe what's going to end up solving this problem is that Greer has never been in a 2K game before to the best of my memory, but Cheeks has. So what's going to end up probably happening is that Cheeks is going to start at point guard and then Iverson is going to start at the 2. For the Sixers, I have Oscar Robertson again, Mitch Richmond, Jack Twyman with an asterisk, Chris Webber with an asterisk, and DeMarcus Cousins. Now, for those of you who don't know, Oscar Robertson played part of his career for the Cincinnati Royals. That team is indexed with the Sacramento Kings, so he counts in their history, and that's why he gets the point guard spot here over somebody like a Jason Williams or a Mike Bibby that you were probably expecting. With Jack Twyman, here's the thing. Unless you guys are really into NBA history or you're reading a lot, I highly doubt any of you have a clue who Jack Twyman is. So I don't even know if 2K is going to have him in the game, and for that reason I had an asterisk and said maybe Peja Stojakovic is going to get that spot because of the familiarity thing, and I kind of doubt that he's going to be in the game, but if he is, I guess for an all-time team he should technically be starting with what he did in his career. To be honest, honest, Chris Webber probably shouldn't even had an asterisk. I just put one there for Jerry Lucas because he was an all-star every year that he played power forward for the Cincinnati Royals, and he has really good numbers. But let's be real here, we're also infatuated with the Kings of the 2000s that everybody's going to want Chris Webber there, and people would probably march towards 2K headquarters if Chris Webber was not starting on an all-time team at the power forward position for the Kings. So I don't really know why I put an asterisk there. And then DeMarcus Cousins for the Kings. There was never any success, but I guess technically he was the best center they ever had, so he just kind of gets it. For the Denver Nuggets, there's going to be Fat Lever, David Thompson, Carmelo Anthony, Bobby Jones, and Dikembe Mutombo. The reason there's an asterisk next to Lever is because technically he is the best point guard that the Nuggets have had, but I don't know if he's going to be in the game. So if he's not there, then who are you going to have? Because I don't know that many point guards throughout the Nuggets history. For the asterisk, I have Allen Iverson written down because David Thompson, if you go look at his stats and if you know anything about Thompson, who was actually Michael Jordan's idol, then you know that David Thompson is getting that shooting guard spot, and Iverson didn't even play there long enough to get that spot from him. So I would say, I mean, if Lever's not in the game, I guess you got to put Iverson there. I don't know, that's just my best guess. The Dallas Mavericks are a bit confusing. I got Jason Kidd with an asterisk, Jason Terry with an asterisk, Mark Aguirre with an asterisk, Dirk Nowitzki, and Sam Perkins. Now for Jason Kidd, he played a couple of seasons for the Mavericks before he was traded very early in his career. Steve Nash technically did more prime years than Kidd did, but Jason Kidd came back and won a championship with the Mavericks, so for that one I don't really have a good clue of who you're gonna start. For the shooting guard position, I think a lot of people are familiar with Jason Terry, and he was very good in his prime, but there's also Rolando Blackmon, who I'm not sure has ever been in 2K, but the whole time he was with the Mavericks, first of all, he played most of his career there because there's only 2 years where he didn't play for them, and he hovered around 20 points a game the entire time he was there, so that shooting guard position is very much up for grabs. And for Mark Aguirre, before he was traded to the Pistons, he had very solid years for the Mavericks as well, but so did Michael Finley in the 2000s, and I think that's a player a lot of people are familiar with. I think all those guys are going to be on the all-time team for the Mavericks, but as far as who's starting in those three positions, I'm not sure who 2K is going to set for the starter. That's a tough one. Next, we have the Chicago Bulls, and anybody with half a brain could pick this out. Derrick Rose, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Artis Gilmore with an asterisk only if he's not in the game. If he's not in the game, then you replace him with Joakim Noah. If he is in the game, he's starting, and I don't want to hear anything else about this because that's the starting lineup for the Bulls all-time team. The Miami Heat, pretty much the same thing. You're going to have Tim Hardaway at the point guard, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Shaquille O'Neal. Now for this one, I guess you could have an asterisk next to Chris Bosh and maybe say I'm gonna put Alonzo Mourning at the power forward position to start down there with Shaq. You know, Chris Bosh won his championship in his prime there, and Alonzo Mourning came back when he was a lot older and came off the bench and won a championship there, and he did play some good years when he was with Miami. And I'm guessing talent wise, a lot of people are probably gonna start Alonzo Mourning regardless. However, I don't know because Chris Bosh has a great perimeter shot, so if you're playing him with Shaq, you definitely want somebody to spread the floor, so I would put him in my starting lineup, but other people have other opinions. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, I want you guys to remember that they share history with the Seattle Supersonics, and there is absolutely no way that Gary Payton or Westbrook are not starting on this team. So for this starting lineup, I have Gary Payton, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Shawn Kemp, and Jack Sikma. With the way James Harden turned out, you could argue that he would start at the shooting guard position, but what I saw on 2K's Twitter is that they released Shaquille O'Neal's rating for the Miami Heat, and I believe it's different from the one that the Lakers are going to get. That means they're judging these players on the way they played when they were actually on the team. So if you're looking at that, James Harden was a 6th man, and he's not going to be the MVP Harden, meaning he wouldn't start over Gary Payton or Westbrook. So next we're on to the New Orleans Pelicans, and because the Pelicans have not been around that long, because technically they're the New Orleans Hornets that came around in 2003 when the Charlotte Hornets dissolved, that means they don't have that many players throughout their history. They're just barely over a decade old. So for them, I have Chris Paul again, and I have to stick Baron Davis at the 2 spot. Even though he never played the 2 a day in his life, he's just going to have to be there for the guard because I can't think of another great guard that played for the Hornets besides Chris Paul right now. Small forward is going to be Peja Stojakovic. Of course, you're going to have Anthony Davis, and okay, so I have Cousins with an asterisk. The reason I have him with an asterisk is because to this point he's only played a half a season with the Pelicans. We don't even know if he's going to stay there past this season. So technically, since he played for them, I guess he's the best center in their franchise history. But if you weren't going to put Cousins there, then I guess you would put David West, and then you would be running a 2 power forward system the same way I did with the Jazz. But for now, I'm going to keep Cousins because technically, just like Dominique Wilkins, he is a part of their history, and if they're doing an all-time team for every franchise, they're gonna have to reach some here. And to wrap up part 1, we're gonna finish with the Cavaliers. I believe their roster is gonna be Mark Price, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Kevin Love with an asterisk, and Brad Daugherty. I'm putting Love with an asterisk because yes, he was a starting power forward on their championship team, and I think you could put Larry Nance here too because a lot of people are familiar with Larry Nance. He was a great power forward for the Cavaliers for a long time, and Kevin Love's best days technically happened on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they're both going to be on this all-time team no matter what because Cleveland hasn't had that many people. But who's going to be starting? I don't know. You could go with, again, the familiar aspect where Kevin Love just won the championship. He's still on there, and he's still a really good player. Or you could go with Larry Nance to start there, but right now I have Kevin Love at the starting spot. And that's what I got for you guys today. We ended right around 15 minutes for 15 teams, so I'm happy for that because I did not want to make a 30-minute video that I knew nobody was going to sit through. So tomorrow I will have part 2 of this, and we're going to guess for all the teams that I didn't get to. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to leave your comment for who you think is going to be in the starting lineups of each team. You only get 5 spots. Hit the bell next to my name so you can get a notification when the video drops tomorrow. I'm Dom2K, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.